Hello, and thank you for watching this video over preparing for the SACSCOC on-site peer review visit, Principles of Accreditation Standard Reviews for Interviews. This video will cover Section 12, or Standards 12 of those Principles of Accreditation, specifically 12.1 and 12.4. Some important dates to add to your calendar if you haven't already is March 25th through the 28th, which are the dates of our on-site visit. Reviewers will primarily be traveling on Monday the 25th, with reviews primarily taking place the Tuesday in the afternoon of Tuesday, March 26th, and the morning of Wednesday, March 27th. The exit conference or interview will take place Thursday, March 28th at the hotel meeting room. And then later in December, we will find the final results of the Affirmation for Reaccreditation at the SACSCOC annual meeting in Austin, Texas. So the purpose of the visit and why SACSCOC reviewers are coming to campus is that the on-site Reaffirmation Committee will review and validate A&M Commerce's compliance with the SACSCOC Principles of Accreditation. This is done through reviews of compliance reports, along with such as the Reaffirmation Compliance Certification submitted in September and the focus report submitted in February. They will tour the campus, conduct interviews with faculty, staff, and students on campus, and tour all campus instructional sites. They will also review our Quality Enhancement Plan, or QEP. Our institutional mission statement at this time is Educate, Discover, Achieve. This has not changed, and if you are asked by the reviewers during your interviews or at any time during the on-site visit about our mission statement, it is Educate, Discover, Achieve. Looking at standard 7.2, which is the QEP standard, it states that the institution has a quality enhancement plan that has a topic identified through ongoing comprehensive planning and evaluation processes, has broad-based support of institutional constituencies, focuses on improving specific learning outcomes or student success metrics, commits resources to initiate, implement, and complete the QEP, and includes a plan to assess achievement of the QEP. It goes on to say that the Quality Enhancement Plan is an integral component of the reaffirmation of accreditation process and is derived from an institution's ongoing planning and evaluation processes. It reflects and affirms a commitment to enhance overall institutional quality and effectiveness by focusing on an issue that we consider important to improving student learning outcomes or student success. Our QEP is titled Foundation for Your Future and is a career preparedness, career management focused QEP. I'm not going to read through these items exhaustively, but you'll notice that each of these aligns with specific items that were in the Principles of Accreditation Standard 7.2. The resource manual rationale notes provides additional explanation of each of these, as it will for the other standards that we'll cover later. The QEP is offered and operated through 3 phases. Phase 1 is the foundation phase. At this phase, we'll be providing students with a solid career foundation as they begin college, looking at embedding general education courses and career courses in the major, so those lower level courses, through foundation offerings, and appropriate assessment and activities will be provided at phase 1. Phase 2 is the framework phase. At this stage, we're looking to build upon the solid foundation that came from phase 1 with a framework that provides students with the skills, content, and competencies for a successful future to prepare students for the possibility of a plan B. So let's say we have students that come to A&M Commerce to be a teacher and they begin taking their education courses and realize that that's maybe not what they want to do. Phase 2 will look at how to prepare them to pivot within those programs and processes to continue on towards success within their career. At this stage, we're looking at embedding courses in the major specific course level and mid-level major courses. So again, it's important to note that this QEP will be available to all students across all programs within all colleges within the institution, and is not restricted by level, modality, or location. Again, appropriate assessments and activities will be offered at phase 2. Phase 3 is our final phase and is titled Capstone. At this phase, we're looking to launch students successfully into their careers as a synthesis of the prior learning obtained in the foundation and framework phases. Capstone courses and experience such as internships, clinicals, practicum, student teaching, etc. will be explored and implemented to allow students the opportunity to actually test and practice those skills that they've learned. And again, appropriate assessment activities will occur non-curricularly outside of the classroom at this phase. Some additional information about the QEP. To reiterate, there are going to be courses in each major that are part of the QEP exploration. So again, the courses and the QEP itself is applicable to all students and all programs and all colleges at the institution. We're looking at developing a non-academic micro-credential titled Career Ready that will assess and be available to students that participate in the non-curricular elements of a QEP and available at time of graduation. Non-curricular activities will primarily be offered through the Office of Career Preparedness with Arthur Lumsey. And though the Career Preparedness focused QEP, Foundation for Your Future, will be open to all students on campus, there will be a data and research focus on first-generation students, so looking at our full-time, first-gen students. We're also looking at developing a mentorship opportunity for those first-generation students, mentored by other first-gen faculty or staff or other faculty and staff dedicated to the success of first-generation students. If you're asked about the QEP, I encourage you to read through our QEP document, meet with Dr. Eric Branscombe, who's our QEP director, but you might also consider these types of questions and what your answers to them might be. Our assessment plans are robust and reasonable. Are there sufficient institutional resources? And if yes, what are they? What form does faculty involvement take with the QEP, and how will learning or achievement be assessed in the QEP? If you're not sure the answer to these questions, again, I encourage you to read our QEP document and reach out to Dr. Eric Branscombe. The Department of Education has 20 standards that they ask or interview all institutions on. These are those 20 listed here. They range from standard 5.4, qualified administrative academic officers, to standard 14.4, representation to other agencies. We are found non-compliant on 18 unique standards. These range from standard 2.1, institutional mission, to standard 13.8, institutional environment. But you will see some overlap from the standards listed on the previous slide, those Department of Education standards, and findings of non-compliance. Where there's that overlap, that means we will have combined standards for interviews of 30 different standards. I want to note also that these are hyperlinked within the larger presentation if it helps with navigation. But they're looking at 30 unique standards that they will be asking questions on, but these will be grouped together so that there will not be 30 unique interviews. If that helps, they'll be, discussed together. So specifically looking at section 12, again, this is 12.1 and 12.4. When we look at standard 12.1, which is a DOE standard, it states the institution provides appropriate academic and student support programs, services, and activities consistent with its mission. The SACSCOC Resource Manual Rationale Notes provides this following information. Student success is significantly affected by the learning environment. An effective institution provides appropriate academic and student support programs and services consistent with the institution's mission that enhances the educational, professional, and personal development experience of the students at all levels, contribute to the achievement of teaching and learning outcomes, ensure student success at meeting the goals of the educational programs, and provide an appropriate range of support services and programs to students at all locations. So again, this is a large focus on our students who might be at distance education sites such as A&M Commerce at Dallas, RELIS, or the Collin Higher Education Center, as well as online students. It goes on to say that qualified and effective faculty and staff are essential to implementing the institution's goal and mission and to ensuring the quality and integrity of academic and student support services and programs. An effective institution has policies and procedure that support a stimulating and safe learning environment. So this section also looks at the appropriate qualifications of our faculty and staff and our student support services. In our compliance certification that was submitted in September, we provided an institutional profile for undergraduate and graduate students so that SACSCOC reviewers could become familiar with the makeup of our student body. This included a % count of our undergraduate and graduate students, where they primarily are from, what they're studying, and their backgrounds. Academic and student support services were detailed by division, and it was included, but these are also detailed in the student guidebook. The list below, is not exhaustive of everything that was included, but provides an oversight of the types of different divisions and departments that were discussed in the 12.1 narrative, which support student success at the student support level. So for student affairs, we were looking at the division and discussion of student disability services, residential living and learning, the campus rec, the counseling center, student rights and responsibilities, and student health services. For enrollment management, we provided discussion and additional deeper information on the registrar, veteran and military services, the testing center, Office of New Student and Family Programs. And then for academic affairs, we explored and provided more information on the first year track, math lab, writing center, trio. Again, I want to, state that these areas are not the only ones that were submitted, but if you're wondering what types of departments were discussed in this narrative, this is an overview of the types of departments that were discussed, where we provided more information on the services and support that they provide for students. So we're looking at standard 12.1. If you're asked about this, and questions or things to consider during the discussion might be, how does the institution's organizational structure affect its delivery of academic and student support programs, services, and activities? How do the programs, services, and activities differ between undergraduate and graduate and professional students, or do they? And if they do, why and how? If they don't, why not? How do the academic and student support programs and services effectively promote the institution, the mission of the institution? So at this point, we'd be looking at tying it back to our mission of educate, discover, achieve. How do students taking courses at off-campus instructional sites, including high school dual enrollment sites, or taking distance and correspondence education courses, access student support programs, services, and activities? While our students that are at Check or maybe online may not have access to, the Campus Direct, for example, they do have access to the writing lab. So thinking through the different services that are available for students at those approved off-campus instructional sites or online would be very helpful for this standard. I do want to clarify that although this question includes branch campuses, A&M Commerce does not have any branch campuses at this time. Another thing to think through is what academic support programs, services, or activities exist for faculty. There might be additional services, professional development, or support provided for faculty at all levels or staff members through these offerings. Standard 12.4 looks at student complaints and states, the institution A publishes appropriate and clear procedures for addressing written student complaints. B demonstrates that it follows the procedures for resolving them, and C maintains a record of students' complaints that can be accessed upon request by SACSCOC. So C is an important item because it shows that not only do we do what we say we're going to do and make sure that's accessible, but that we can demonstrate the compliance if requested by SACSCOC. In the resource manual rationale and notes, it states that institutional policies and procedures governing written student complaints need to be well publicized and provide clear and consistent guidelines for the resolution. Furthermore, the institution must abide by its own policies, ensuring that student complaints are addressed in a prompt, fair, and consistent manner. One of the main purposes for requiring a record of written student complaints is so that the institution and SACSCOC can review the record to see if there are patterns. So being able to discern, establish, and track down a pattern would be very important if there were certain things that kept coming out. The pattern of student complaints is found when reviewing the record, and if those complaints are related to SACSCOC accreditation standards, then SACSCOC will expand its review to include those issues if the complaints point to an unresolved problem. So that's why the demonstration of resolution is also incredibly important. Thus, the record of student complaints should be maintained in a manner consistent with its intended purpose. Finally, it's expected that institutions will provide at least one redacted example of a written complaint and documentation of resolution. We were able to provide multiple thanks to our Office of Student Support and Services. In our compliance certification, we stated that Texas A&M University Commerce publishes appropriate and clear procedures for addressing written student complaints, demonstrates that it follows the procedures when resolving them, and maintains a record of student complaints that can be accessed upon request by SACSCOC. We also follow the same student complaint procedures for all locations and modalities of delivery for our academic programs. We provide clear avenues for students to enter written formal complaints, file grievances, or submit appeals for other administrative decisions. And in general, the overall purpose of the A&M Commerce student grievance process is to provide all enrolled students with a standardized, clear process for reporting unresolved grievances and for seeking resolution, where conditions or treatment by students, faculty, or staff members could be deemed unjust, inequitable, or create an unfavorable environment or situation. We went on to say that the university's obligation and commitment is to ensure that all students receive fair and equitable treatment in a timely manner when reporting grievances of any nature, and that furthermore, any student, again, regardless of issue, modality, location, etc., may report a given grievance without fear of reprisal. When we're looking at standard 12.4, some questions or things to consider in preparation for interviews or speaking with the reviewers is, how does the institution define a written student complaint? What are the policies and procedures governing written student complaints, and how are they adequate to meet these needs? How are policies and procedures disseminated, especially those concerning student complaint processes and procedures, Do students know where to access them, or are they disseminated to students? Are there any differences in policies based on location or mode of delivery? How is the policy approved and revised if necessary, or if there have been any revisions? Are the publicized policies and procedures consistently followed when resolving student complaints? Again, this is where that record or log would come in handy because it would demonstrate consistent follow through. Where and how does the institution maintain a record of student complaints? And is this record kept in a way to be able to discern if there are patterns of those complaints received? So I want to say thank you again so much for viewing this video, attending the sessions, and through your daily work. Our successful reaffirmation is due to faculty and staff just like you and the work that you do every day to support our students. If you have any questions, if you would like any support, or if you would like a one-on-one meeting, please do not hesitate to reach out to Dr. Ricky Dobbs or myself, and we are more than happy to do so. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.